Hello there everybody, it's Scott here for the MXQ Project. Now in today's video we are going to look at something rather impressive, if I do say so myself. If you've been watching our videos the past couple of weeks, you may have noticed that we reviewed a couple of different Beelink devices. One of which was the Beelink A1, or the Mega Coaster as we've taken to calling it, and the second of which was the Beelink S1 Box. Both Android TV boxes, and both were a pretty big letdown to say the very least. Now I'm hoping today's product is going to break that trend of pretty poor Beelink devices. It's the Beelink S1 Windows 10 Mini PC. So this Beelink S1 Mini PC comes with an Apollo Lake N3450 processor from Intel. It clocks at around 1.1 to 1.2 GHz on average, which is pretty acceptable for a mini PC such as this. It's the kind of processor that you would find in a lower end netbook or laptop perhaps. It also comes with 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage. Now you can expand that RAM when buying, so the retailers should give you an option to purchase the basic 4 GB version, or you can upgrade to 8 GB of RAM. Now what's interesting about this mini PC as well is that you are not just limited to Windows 10. Now we've been sent the Windows 10 64-bit version, but you can actually choose to have this delivered with Ubuntu Linux pre-installed on there as well. So you're getting a choice of operating system, which is something that we don't see very often with mini PCs. They are normally limited to Windows 10. So we're going to source out that Ubuntu operating system and firmware for this box and get that installed hopefully, and do a separate video giving an overview of the Ubuntu operating system. But for now we're going to stick with the Windows 10 version, and we're going to unbox it right now and then plug it in and just basically see what it can do and how it all runs. So we're going to jump over now and get on with that unboxing. So here we are with the Beelink S1 packaging itself. It's packaged very nice and it looks very smart. It's very simple, but it's a very nice box. Now unfortunately when we received our box it was actually damaged just on here, as you can see. Now I'm going to blame the courier for that. I don't think that's anything to do with the supplier. The courier's probably just been a bit rough with it. Now let's get all this unboxed and see what we get inside. Now the first thing we come to is the Beelink S1 itself, and it is a very large device compared to some of the other mini PCs that we've looked at in the past. It's very nice though. It's made out of very sturdy ABS plastic and has a very nice glossy finish on the top, which is a magnet for fingerprints, but it does look nice and it gives off quite a nice effect. Now on the front here we've got some connectivity. We've got a USB-C port, we've got two USB 3.0 ports, a TF card reader, and even a power button. Now on the sides here we have the ventilation for the heat, because this is a fanless device, and on the back we have some more inputs and outputs. We have the power port here of course. We even have a VGA input so you can connect to a PC monitor. We've also got a HDMI port of course, so you can connect it up to your TV, an Ethernet port, and two USB 2.0 ports, and as well as a headphone jack. Now this box also has a microphone built in as well, which we'll get to in a little bit, so we can use things like voice control. Now on the bottom is a really good selling point for this box. It actually has a separate docking station, so you can add a separate or additional SSD drive or a mechanical hard drive as well, so you can expand that storage. Beelink claims that you can expand it up to 128 GB. I've not tested that yet, but it's great to know it's there. It's not many boxes that have that, so you can add an additional SSD or mechanical hard drive. And that's the box itself. Not much to it, but it's very nice looking, very well built, and has lots of connectivity going on for it. So let's dive right in and see what else we get in the box. Now here we come to the usual manuals here. Not much use to anyone. It kind of walks you through the setup process, and then we have a second manual in here as well, just kind of outlining the box itself. Again, not a great deal of help there from it, and it's pretty useless as you can expect from these Chinese devices. Lovely bit of useless cardboard. Wouldn't be the same without them. Here we have the power cable as well. They've sent me an EU one. Again, not compatible with my country, but I've got an adapter. You'll get a choice of those. Here we have a HDMI cable. It's quite a long one that they've bundled in with it, and for some reason they have also sent a second HDMI cable as well. Not entirely sure why they've sent two, but one's a long one, one's a short one. Maybe it's for if you mounted it to your TV so you didn't have loads of cable flex kind of all over the place and get it in the way. And last but not least, we have a mount for a VESA compatible TV. So if you've got a VESA mount or something like that, you can mount this box to the back of it and keep it all nice and neat and out of sight. That's probably what that HDMI cable was for. But I don't have a compatible monitor to do that with, so I'm not going to be able to test it. But you've got it there as an option if you want to. So let's boot this thing up now and see how we get on with it, how we set this thing up, and just how it performs overall with things like gaming, and we'll do some internet speed tests and things like that, and just get a basic overview of how well this box is going to do for you. So this is what we see when we power the device on. It's just the Beelink boot logo, and then it should take us into the Windows 10 setup wizard, so we can get everything set up the Wi-Fi and all our personal preferences and things like that. So this will just take a moment, and we should be on that setup screen here. So now we can select the language settings. I'm going to go ahead and just choose English, obviously, and then it will give us options to set the date and time, our keyboard language and things like that, and our region. So in a moment I'll just get that done, and I'll be back with you in a second. So we can select here the language and the region, date and time and things like that, as I just stated. All pretty straightforward stuff. If you've ever set up a Windows 10 device before, maybe a computer or a laptop, you'll know what this is. So you should be able to just breeze through this. So if we go ahead and click on to the next part, it's going to ask us for a product key. Now, the model that we've been sent to review didn't actually come with a Windows 10 activation product key, so we're just going to have to use it on a trial basis. But if you purchase this device, if you look in that little manual we saw in the box, it will actually contain your product key for you, so you can enter it here, and then you get a fully legitimate licensed Windows 10 experience. But I'm just going to go ahead and use it on a trial basis for the purposes of this review, because we don't actually have a product key. Then we have the disclaimer and all that stuff. We can just go ahead and accept that. Now we can set up the Wi-Fi. I'm just going to set up mine. Take a moment now to set up my Wi-Fi. Now you might find once you've connected to the Wi-Fi, it's going to come up with a few updates for Windows. It certainly did with me. It was quite a large 4GB update, and there were some other things that needed to be downloaded and extra features and things like that. So depending on your internet connection, it could take a little while to actually get set up with this device, just to make sure you're on the latest version of Windows and you've got all those features and things installed. But there will be options to bypass this and turn these off. Now we can come in here and customize our settings. We've got a load of preferences here as well, so you can set your privacy settings, tell Windows whether or not you want it to be able to use voice recognition and collect data and use targeted ads and things like that. I usually turn these off just for ease of use, because I don't really want adverts directed at me, and I don't want Microsoft kind of collecting data and things like that, just for the purposes of this review anyway. And that's pretty much it. It's just all going to start up now. It'll probably tell me that I need an update, so I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll come back once everything's all set up, and we'll take a look at the desktop environment and just have a general look at how all this runs. So here we are at the main desktop, and as you can see, it's very responsive and fluid, and you can access all things here like your Wi-Fi and your extra tabs and your notifications and the action center and things like that, and it's all very snappy and very quick, which is nice to see. There's very little in the way of lag here on the menus or the start bar and things. Now, if we just take a look at the specs now, we can go into the control panel and just take a look at the specs and just make sure that it is got everything that Beelink claims that it has. So if we go into here to the system settings, we can see that it's got that Intel Celeron N3450 processor at 1.1 GHz. It's got 4GB of RAM, 64GB of storage, and all that stuff. So it is definitely legit, and it's a pretty beefy device for such a cheap little PC. So there we have it. Now, I mentioned before as well about those voice controls, which means we can use things like Cortana and talk to the box itself with that internal microphone, should you so wish to. So if we were to say something like, "Hey Cortana, how are you?" Cortana may respond,
"Chipper, thanks."
And there you go. Or if we were to say, "Hey Cortana, what is 2 plus 2?
"That makes 4.
So the voice recognition and speech recognition on this is pretty spot on as well with that internal microphone. And that brings us to about the end of this section. As you can see, it's all running very fine, it's very smooth and very fluid. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go and test the internet, some YouTube playback, and we'll do a Wi-Fi speed test as well, because I've been requested to do some of those in my reviews from now on, so we'll get on with that as well. So join me again in the next section. So I've loaded up speedtest.net now because it's been requested that I include Wi-Fi speed tests in my reviews. Now just bear in mind that I'm in a room now in my house which is a bit of a black hole for Wi-Fi signals, which means that it can be quite poor here. But it looks like this doesn't have too much problem. It looks like it's going to reach about 25 megs a second, which is very acceptable, like I say, for this room in the house. Now I am using a Wi-Fi extender as well, and it's pretty acceptable. I'm happy with that. Bearing in mind that it's not doing as well as, say, the Minix Neo that I reviewed a fair few weeks ago, that Windows 10 box, because that had a big, huge Wi-Fi antenna that you could attach to the box separately, so it had very strong Wi-Fi, but this is perfectly acceptable for me. So I'm going to jump over to YouTube now, and we're going to test some HD video playback to see how the Beelink S1 gets on with playing back some videos. So I've loaded up a HD video on YouTube, and it is actually a 4K test video, but I don't have a 4K TV or monitor, so I'm unable to test that properly. I'm hoping to change that in the new year and get hold of a 4K TV or monitor, but in the meantime, it's going to play this 4K video and downscale it to 1080p. And it's playing really well, and it looks really nice and vivid, and I'm not getting any issues whatsoever with video playback. So if you complement the Beelink S1 with a nice 4K TV or monitor, you're going to get an excellent video playback experience. Now the next thing I'm going to do is load up the Antutu benchmark app for Windows 10, and we're going to run the 3D benchmark and the CPU benchmark and things like that on this box and see how it fares. And it's going to be interesting to see what kind of comparison we get compared to them other high-end Android TV boxes that we usually review, because they are normally coming back at quite a reasonable Antutu score. So I'm very interested to know how the Beelink S1 is going to stack up against those. So join me again in a second and we will get to the Antutu benchmark test. Okay, I've jumped over to the Antutu benchmarking app. This is the Windows 10 version, of course, and it's available on the Windows Store on any Windows 10 device, really. And if you've watched any of our videos before, you'll know that we use this app on Android to test those Android boxes out and see what kind of score that they give us. Now, I'm expecting this to do quite a bit better, so if we just launch the test now, and you can see that it's performing okay. It's definitely a fair few steps up from those Android devices, but bearing in mind that with this processor, you're only getting the Intel Graphics 500 integrated in there as well, so you're not going to get anything out of this world or high-end by any means, but you're going to be able to play some casual, maybe older titles on there as well, and games that are less intensive. So you're not going to be able to play any 2017 AAA titles, of course, but you may get away with a few games from years ago, such as the Fallout series. Now, if you remembered from our Minix Neo review that we did a couple of months ago, I had Fallout New Vegas running on that. Very, very acceptable. It was very smooth and very playable. You'll probably get a similar experience on this as well, but we'll test some games in just a little while. But in the meantime, we're just going to run some more of this test, and then we'll skip to the end and have a look at the final score. So the Antutu benchmarking test has finished, and it has given us a score of 109,530, which is very respectable. That's over 5 times than the average Amlogic S912 TV box that we review, and you can see some of the other results here as well. So I'm going to jump over now and try some games on it, and we're going to test Portal just for something different. I've got a hold of a version of Portal, it's the non-Steam version, so we're going to jump over there now and see how we fare with some of the gameplay. Okay, so I've loaded up Portal, as you can see here. I'm just going to go into the settings and show you what I've got the visual settings set to and things like that. I've set up a gamepad and all that kind of stuff. And if we come in here to the video settings, I'm running it in full HD. And if we go down to the advanced section, you can see I've put all the video settings down to medium. Now, it defaulted them at high, and I did try it, and it was very playable, but there was some jittering and slowdown and frame rate drop. So I put it down to medium just to make it go a bit easier on the box. And I have to say, it's playing extremely well. Now, I absolutely love this game, and I'm sure many of you do as well. It's an absolute classic, and I'm absolutely thrilled that I'm running it on this Beelink S1 device, and I'm really, really pleased. Basically, it plays very well. You'd be able to sit and play the whole game on this without any toll on the box whatsoever. Now, bearing in mind that the box is fanless as well, it can get a little bit hot, especially when you're doing more intensive things like gaming, but it's still far from very hot. It's not going to be unbearable, but bear in mind that there is a little bit of heat that comes off it. So other than that, it's absolutely fine. It's also silent as well because it is fanless, so it's not getting too hot, and it's very silent, and it's running this game very, very well. So we're going to go over to the next game now, and we're going to play some Minecraft.
Well done. Remember, the Aperture Science Bring Your Daughter to Work Day is the perfect time to have her tested.
So this is Minecraft Windows 10 Edition, and this comes pre-installed as a demo on pretty much all Windows 10 PCs and devices. If we go into the settings here, I've left everything at the default, so fancy graphics and all that kind of jazz is all left enabled. And if we jump over to the gameplay now, you can see that it is running very well. It's very smooth and very fluid. So if you're one of those massive Minecraft fans that are out there and you want to use your mini PC to play a few games of Minecraft, you're going to be able to do so without any issues whatsoever. I myself am not massively into Minecraft. I used to be a couple of years ago, and I kind of grew out of it, and I didn't really get it. I don't get the fandom or anything like that, but there you go. If you're a Minecraft fan, you're going to be able to play this without too much issue. And if you've got kids and things like I do that enjoy Minecraft, they're going to be able to play it and have some fun on this game without any interruptions, any frame rate drops or anything like that, or any lag. So you're going to get a pretty smooth gameplay experience if you want to play some Minecraft. Now next up, we're going to play some Candy Crush Soda Saga. It's a very simple game, usually found on mobile apps, but you can get it on the Windows 10 store. So we're just going to see how this mini PC runs it, and I've got a feeling that it's not going to have any issues, but we shall see. This is Candy Crush Soda Saga. Again, this comes pre-installed on pretty much all Windows 10 devices, and the Beelink S1 is no exception. Now, as expected, there's zero issues with gameplay here either. I honestly didn't expect there to be any major flaws or issues when playing this game, but it's kind of good to use it and get a broad idea of what kind of games and the kind of experiences you're going to be able to get out of the Beelink S1. So yeah, absolutely fine and zero issues. So I think we're going to bring the review to a close there, and we're going to kind of recap everything we've covered. I'm going to give my final thoughts on the product itself, and we will get a gauge of whether or not the Beelink S1 is going to be something that's for you and whether it's going to be worth your time and money. So join me again in a second and we shall round off this mini PC review. So, just to recap, today we have been looking at the Beelink S1 Windows 10 Mini PC. Processor-wise, it has got the Intel N3450 Apollo Lake CPU with speeds of up to 1.1 GHz on average, which is very good and more than adequate for a box like this. It's got 4 GB of RAM, which is more than adequate again for running basic Windows tasks and running the operating system itself. Now, you can, if you want something a bit quicker, upgrade to 8 GB of RAM, and the retailer online should give you the option for that RAM upgrade, so you can upgrade to 8 GB and have an even faster box. It's got the Windows 10 operating system on, that's what we saw today, that's the version we were sent. But again, the retailer should give you the option to choose Ubuntu as an operating system. So you've got a choice between Windows and Linux as well, which is great. Now, like I said, we had the Windows version sent to us, so I'm currently tracking down the Ubuntu firmware for the S1, and I'm hoping to get a video out in the next week or so, which covers the Ubuntu side of things, so we can see how it runs that. Now, if you're a gamer, it's going to be able to run some games for you. Nothing AAA and nothing too intensive, but we had things like Portal running and it ran absolutely fine. Again, with Minecraft, we had all the settings left at default and it ran absolutely beautifully. So you're going to be able to play things like Minecraft and Portal and those kinds of games. Absolutely no issue whatsoever. Nice and smooth, very fluid. Little in the way of frame rate drops and things like that. And of course, if you're a casual gamer and you want to play games like Candy Crush that are more designed for things like smartphones, you're going to have an absolutely perfect experience with those as well. Now, onto Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi connectivity I was very impressed with. Like I stated earlier, the Wi-Fi in this room where I do the reviews and have these boxes connected up is poor at the very best of times. Now, I had no issue whatsoever with Wi-Fi, and I got a very strong Wi-Fi signal from it, as you saw in the speed test I did a bit earlier. Of course, you're going to get better speeds with Ethernet, so if you can get away with plugging it into your router if you're close enough, then I suggest doing that, and then you're going to have really, really decent internet speeds. Now, video playback was stunning as well. You saw me play some HD footage back from YouTube, and I had absolutely zero issues with it. Now, of course, image quality is going to be dependent on the monitor or TV that you're using. So if you've got a really nice 4K TV or monitor, then this box is going to complement it really, really well, and you're going to be able to get some stunning video playback from the likes of YouTube, Netflix or Kodi or wherever you play your video from, and you're not going to have any issues there. Now, overall, this box is a stunning piece of kit, I think. It's probably the best mini PC that I've had my hands on this year, and it's just really, really well made, and it's definitely a return to form for Beelink. So I'm very, very impressed all round. And don't forget that it's also got that space, that extra docking space, so you can attach an additional SSD drive or mechanical hard drive. So if you've got a spare 2.5-inch drive lying around, you can attach that and expand your storage. and Beelink say that it can expand it to around 128 gigabytes, but I reckon that you could probably do bigger than that. So overall, yes, brilliant box. If you want to take a look in depth at the specifications and prices, then the links are going to be in the description below. So if you like the video, give me a like. If you didn't like it, give me a dislike. That's fine as well. Come and chat to me in the comments. Let me know what you thought. If there's anything you want me to cover in future videos, let me know. Or if you have any criticisms or anything like that, again, don't hesitate to let me know. Either leave me a comment or drop me a message. The links to the website mxqproject.com and the Facebook group are going to be in the description as well. So come and talk to us over there. Loads of knowledgeable people. Really nice, friendly community over there as well. Follow us on Twitter at MXQ Project. You'll see the Twitter handle on the screen right now. And that is pretty much it for this video, guys. So I really hope you've enjoyed it. I've been Scott. You have been watching the MXQ Project, and I shall see you next time.